eat.
That's great.
Yeah. Should this was a meditation that I wrote for the Nuji Busui book, and Amos is a book in the Old Testament, in the Jewish Bible, that's very interesting. It's not long, it's really a good one to read. He notices from the hillside, this is a story, remember, it's just a story, it's symbols, right? But there's always a message in there for us. So a shepherd on the side of the hill notices, I just think about this for a minute. Did he have binoculars? But he notices from up there in his vantage point. So you might think then that his vantage point may have just been meditation, right? A higher state of consciousness, right? So he notices that there are a bunch of invisible people in the community, a community that is prosperous. And so he goes down into the community and he starts talking to people and telling them, he's a prophet, right? Prophets are always a pain in the butt. He comes down and he starts talking to people about the fact that these invisible people are suffering, and let's do something about it. Now, this is very important that we remember this principle, that it is better to teach someone to fish than actually to give them a fish. But we also have to remember that sometimes you have to give them a fish so that they have the strength to learn how to fish. So we just need to get it. We need to get it in order. So we're not talking about setting up some kind of deal where we just keep handing stuff out, because that actually is not the best thing for anybody, right? But what we should be handing out is education. We should be handing out is some kind of training for skills. We should, first of all, might be a good idea if we find out what kind of skills people had. So we might want to encourage them to figure it out, right? I mean, a lot of us go through life not even knowing what talents we have because we're not looking close enough. But just think about, here's what I think. I think the system, even this crazy world that we have made, that in it is designed in such a way that there are talents and abilities exactly to the proportion of need. And that if everybody gets on track, like the Course in Miracles is saying, is to use our talents and abilities to be helpful to others, if everybody gets on track with our talents and abilities and gives ourselves to those talents and abilities, making them gifts, there will be no position unfilled. There are going to be some positions we're going to eliminate because they're not good for anybody, right? We're not going into that today. But what I'm saying is, for our purposes, there will be enough electricians. There will be enough plumbers. There will be enough carpenters. There will be enough teachers. Because the talents and abilities are there. And each one of us, our job, our mission, is to give from those talents and abilities. So Amos is saying, listen, let's give them something to eat first. But then, let us help them according to their gifts, so that they might then turn their gifts into gifts for all. And this just makes common sense. We spend so much money keeping people down. And every time we set up a program, it tends to turn into some kind of lobbyist heaven. Because now we've got prisons that are actually private enterprise prisons, and of course what they want is to have more prisons. So their mission is to lock up more people. And now we have in America, we have a higher percentage of our population locked up than anywhere else in the world, including any despotic regime that you can think of. And this didn't happen because we're bad people. This happened because we allowed that system to grow. So what if we took all those people that are in prison, not for dangerous crimes, and put them to other use, and even those who are, well, here's just a couple ideas. Here's what's happened in India. The women's prisons in India were crazy. It was just, violence was in there, was just unbelievable. So what did they do? They introduced a meditation program to the women's prisons. Totally turn it around. What if we started there? Oh my God, somebody, you know what? The problem is that the fundamentalist view of meditation is that it's talking to the devil.
Yeah.
What is wrong? What is going on here right now? So, anyway, these things are being tried. But there's a lot of stuff that we can think about here. I like to think of myself as a true conservative. And when I mean true conservative, I mean that a true conservative doesn't waste stuff, including people. Stop wasting. Start making use of what we have. And start allowing people to be useful in the society. And it's got to start with education. I didn't even mean to say all of that. That just popped out of me right now. It still happens from time to time. But so here's the thing, that our job is not to fight about it. Although sometimes I get worked up, and then see what happens is when you get worked up over it and you start being very strong in your personality, is other people automatically set up defenses against it. They don't want to hear it. So man, let me calm down right now. But here's the thing, we're achieving something. We're accomplishing something. Each and every one of us, the 6 of us that are sitting here right now, crazy. But listen, every time we get quiet and meditate, we're sending a little bit of peace out into the world. And every single loving thought that comes through our minds touches other minds, helping to heal, helping to ease the suffering. So this is great. This is and we need to understand that that's good, but that doesn't mean that we're going to sit and meditate and pray all day long, because then, what somebody once told me was, then you're of no earthly good. There is actual work that we're supposed to be doing in the body to be helpful. But we should start from that place of peace, from that place of calm. We're learning. This is what's going on. We're learning. What the Course says about this learning is that learning is just a device to change our perspective. It's just a device to change our perception, to get us to the point where we actually could get true knowledge. That when we're learning now, the knowledge that we are thinking that we're acquiring is really just kind of imitation knowledge that works inside the illusion that we've built. But that by changing our perception through our practice, day by day, lesson by lesson, that we get to the place where we can see across that span to the truth. And so we can get our perception to the place where we can stand at the foot of the bridge to heaven. And it promises that God will take that final step, because it says it's too big of a step for us to take on our own. So we have this learning going on in the body. It's never going to be complete. In the body we are learning, and it's never going to be complete. And then I was thinking about this as I wrote the lessons for the next coming week, that achieving true knowledge, I was just thinking that's when we might, I don't know, because it hasn't happened yet, right? But I got this feeling that a lot of our brothers and sisters who have achieved that true knowledge just turned sideways and disappeared. Others stay, I'm told, others stay to be helpful to those of us who are still caught up in this whole cycle of life and death. So, but this true, now what if it was this transition to a non-physical state? It just seems like this full remembrance of God would be like this instantaneous transport into heaven. But short of that divine transformation, there's still much room for improvement. There's much room for accomplishment. We're moving from we're right now, the mindset, well, hopefully we've come some ways, but there's this mindset of full divergence from each other. There's this mindset of that we are just totally separate on our own, and we better fight our way through, or we're not going to get, or we're going to lose, or all of these fearful thoughts. Coming from that point of view of just total divergence to a new perception, a new perspective that sees, at least to begin with, at least intellectually, and then starting to get some emotion behind it, that oneness is real. That we really are part of this something much bigger than ourselves. So on this journey, we've got lessons, but these lessons that we're supposed to be taking. And the realization, as we do the lessons, we get better. We're improving. We're having these achievements. And the achievements show themselves in more peace of mind. More spaces in which we're not experiencing fearful thoughts. That we're not angry. That we're not upset over whatever situation is going on for longer periods of time. And then we're even improving more when we do go off the rails and get upset, get very afraid of things. We're improving even more when we stop blaming ourselves for getting off track and just make a decision to get back on track. So we're having a steadily rising consciousness. That this is what's going on. And I had someone ask me about it. He says, man, I seem to be making these same mistakes. It goes for a while, and then I come back and I'm making this mistake. And I had years ago, a teacher told me that we're on a spiral upward. We're spiraling upward. So we're going around like this, and sometimes we're over the exact spot that a year ago or a month ago we made this mistake, and so we might almost repeat it, but not quite, maybe a little bit better, right? But we're moving upwards. So these challenges are going to repeat, but each time from maybe a slightly higher viewpoint. Well, that's my aspiration anyway. That's my hope in the whole thing. So these spiritual theories that at one time were just intellectual ideas, just things that, and this is the other thing about this, when we intellectualize about this, the ego loves that. So even the ego can use anything, any spiritual teaching, the ego can use it for its own purposes, to just intellectualize. But what happens is, when these theories start to turn into experience, and we actually begin to experience